Does anyone still believe in paradise?
Keep on clapping about this. Come on over, please. There we go. Yes.
I'll just dance for you. I can see. Hey, baby. Thank you, baby. Wow.
Guys, that was amazing. Wow. Come on, who's right next to you? Who's right next to you? Oh, you don't know who it is? Oh, okay. Oh, Anthony. Oh, he's from the museum. You know, Kenya, I'm sure you have something that you want to say to the fans of this series after 8 seasons, so I want to kick it off with you. You know, just what does it feel like to see that final episode and the culmination of all the work you did over the years?
Just thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you for letting us in your home. Thank you for letting us in your homes. Thank you for trusting us with a crazy title. And even tuning in. And you know, thank you for changing what I believed at first was I need to be accepted by everyone. And I began to realize I need to be accepted by us. And so thank you for accepting us. And Jonathan Groff is here. Thank you for being my partner. Thank you so much for this. And thank you to my family, you know, this cast, and my family who left this cast. And I thank you guys for changing my life in ways I would have never, ever thought. And that pilot that we got together and made, it was, we felt it, and you know, I don't think any of us ever thought this would be it, but I think that we got to do something that, you know, if we never did to do it again, we can say that we put our heart into something, and people embrace it. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. I think I'm not alone in saying that I was sold in the first opening seconds of the pilot. Like, I remember seeing Anthony grab some kids at a bus stop. So those young guys with black kids, those were my parents, and I was like, oh my God, I feel seen in the series. I would love to go down the line and hear from you guys what episode, or, you know, really kind of spoke to your character's development, or what episode really stands out to you guys, because so many great episodes over the course of 8 seasons. Let's start with you, Miles.
For me, I think I said this earlier, I think the first episode where I really, because I knew what we were kind of getting into on the comedy end, and just knowing how funny of a cast this was combined, but I knew we could do something special when it comes to talking about serious topics, but we haven't really done it yet fully until I think our home episode. And I was, what were we, 9, 10 maybe when we filmed that? 10? And when we filmed that, I was still in the learning process of that topic, and just in general about serious topics that we eventually talked about on the show. And that was when I think when it really first hit me that this show was just more than just jokes. And I knew we could do something special because I knew that it was a controversial title. We knew what we were doing, talking about it, but that was when I really seen it in front of me. Just filming that episode and learning the process and just learning more about that along with my character. And I think I can say that to a lot of kids watching that episode. And that was one of the best and best like inspiring things that I've seen from the show, is that so many people have learned things that they never knew, or you know that they didn't know about. So that was one episode that stood out to me.
Absolutely. How about yourself, Marcy?
Ooh, character development. I mean, wow. I mean, there's been so many, but I think the most recent one is our second to last episode where Jack and I to different colleges, and I feel like with that one, it was just, of course, it was the episode where you kind of just see the end of the twins' journey and seeing where the next chapter will lead them to. And with that one, that was really emotional, and we, like, in front of the camera and also behind, because we had our director, Iona Morris Jackson, which also was our dialogue coach throughout the year. And it was her directorial debut on Blackish, and it was amazing, and it meant the world to all of us. And seeing Diane and her wise, witty, mature self become something in this episode which is vulnerable. It meant the world to me, and it was amazing just to see her whole journey, and I'm very grateful.
Love that. Marcus, you're up. How about yourself?
Okay. I feel like for me, Junior as a character really came into his own, and I understood the concept of what we were going for when we did the Nod episode. I feel like we touched on some pretty big topics in the Black community, and Junior, through him, I feel like we were able to teach a lot of younger audience members and start that conversation for them so that they could learn about the Nod too. And then our most recent episode, like Kayla said, or Marseille, was our second to last episode. I feel like Junior evolved as a character, and not only him personally, but his relationship with the men he's been looking up to his entire life, his father and his grandfather. I feel like there was a beautiful moment of vulnerability, and they learned a lot about each other, and they weren't afraid to fully commit their hearts into that conversation. And being fortunate enough to have my father in my life, who's been a strong guiding force, being able to see that represented on TV is a beautiful thing. We heard so many things, comments from people when we screened that episode about how it impacted them and it spoke to their truth as well. So being able to show that relationship between father and son and intergenerational strong Black men was a beautiful thing, and one of my favorite episodes that we've done. So I loved it.
Yara, how about yourself?
I guess I would go back to what Miles said in the Hope episode in terms of character development, because I think it's the first time you see how deeply Zoe cares, and I feel like it taps on something generationally that so many of my peers are going through, of being a young Black person in the world, and either feeling like you're going to breed such a deep sense of apathy and detachment for survival reasons, or you have to tap into the vulnerability in your support network. And so for that to be an episode that was just one of our first huge intergenerational conversations that we were having, felt like we were able to tackle something that we were all going through in real time. I think as a cast, we were experiencing in real time, seeing injustices, seeing not guilty verdicts. And so I think just the timing of it really spoke to our own emotional journeys. And then towards the end of the episode, as somebody that loves James Baldwin, one thing he talks about is the deep sense of optimism you have to have. And when I think of what Blackish does so well, especially in an episode like that one, is maintain a deep optimism. If you believe in the future, you are an optimist. And so it's beautiful to be a part of a show that can enact that in such a real way.
Love that. Jennifer?
Let's President of the United States. Can I just say how proud I am of my grandbaby? My God, I don't even have that vocabulary. I'm so proud of them, I don't know what to do. The hardest moment for me on Blackish was sitting...
Remembering your lines?
Oh, Jesus. I'm gonna have to kick his ass.
Show them the knuckles. Show them the knuckles.
This was every day
show them.
on set.
I'm
Look at it.
telling you.
Ain't nothing but a little. So anyway. Listen, y'all, one of the hardest moments on Black, yes, was remembering my lines. Listen, was watching them at that age having to watch the police brutality on the television that day of filming. Knowing that my mother had to suffer the same thing. And here I was on a television show on top of the world, having had my ancestors who are all in this building. For them to have to see that was my hardest moment on that show. My favorite episode was Juneteenth. I remember the script arriving to my house. And I was like, wow. I went, no, they didn't. I said, no, Kenya Barris didn't.
Why are you lying? Nobody ever sent scripts to the house. It was all sent on email.
Once again.
Why you bring on to these people no more? Why you
Oh, the hardest moment was watching my fake grandbabies watch them beat that black man on TV. This is a comedy. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. Take the mic. Take the mic.
So then, in 1957, guys, I had a blast on this show. Ruby Johnson. Watching these kids grow up, working with these two. A hot mess. You can imagine. Trace Allen Ross at 5 and 1. It was wonderful. We had a great time. And I always say the writers were the stars, Blackish. Yeah, they did an amazing job. And I'm going to say this last thing, Anthony. And I mean this from my heart. My greatest hour before tonight was receiving a standing ovation, in an electrifying standing ovation at Carnegie Hall. Tonight tops that. This means to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Dr.
You had a standing ovation at Carnegie Hall tonight? I didn't know where you were going with it.
Y'all,
please, sit down, take your medicine.
No, really.
This is weird.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Mama, this is weird. I'm feeling things in my body. All sweet like Jesus.
Welcome to our show. I have no memory of what your question was. I don't know why I'm here, and I don't know who this lady is. I'm sorry for that, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We'd love to hear you talk about either, something instrumental that happened in the development of your character, or like a favorite episode, or something that really gelled for you.
I mean, Anthony, I'm not going to take the pilot. I'm going to let you do that.
Okay.
Because that was very special, the beginning of it all. I think favorite episodes, I go to 3. Being Bo-racial, because I think it was one of the first times we got to see that Bo's point of view was an outlier point of view in this family, and that as a black woman, she was a different kind of black woman, and we got to explore where that came from and her origin story. And I thought that shed light on the diversity of who we are as a people, and also what we were exploring in this household with this family. We got the intergenerational, but then we also had a husband and wife that really came from different points of view and were connected by how they loved each other and liked each other. The other one is Mother Nature, the perimenopause. Nope, that's what I'm in now. What's wrong with the front of those? Interesting. Anyway, the postpartum episode. Am I having a hot flash?
No.
I don't know either. The postpartum episode and touching on mental health health, particularly in the Black community, and the way the story was developed, which I thought was, Corey Nickerson wrote it, and I thought it was really special that we got to see that Ruby from a different generation had a different point of view about how to deal with postpartum. And that the person who actually helped Bo walk through that and realize it and discover it and name it was actually Dre, her husband. And I thought it was really about how this couple really operated in this show, and that we were each other's safe place and support. And it's one of the things that drew me originally to the show, that so often in the landscape of television and sitcoms, the sitcom relationship is based on a husband and wife who roll their eyes at each other, and it's about the woman withholding from her husband. And this was a couple that was based in love and like, and they were a couple that was not just surviving, but thriving. And I really enjoyed that, and it continued to be the case as the show progressed and developed. And then the third episode that I can't, from a personal standpoint, as a cast, when we did Juneteenth, yes, I thought Juneteenth was remarkable. What we created, what was written, the production value, we tried something completely different. There was a lot of risk on the part of our producers and writers in terms of what they created and how it was directed, and the lighting design and choreography. But as a cast, we got to rehearse a week in advance together. And we had already found and discovered the safety with each other, but to embark on something completely new when we're doing choreography and in the studio singing and doing that with a cast that we've been doing another particular thing with for so long was just so special. And it just, I don't know, it felt magical for us. That's it.
I love that.
Well, we want to talk about character development.
Let me interrupt, please.
Stop!
I want to interrupt him. Because I love him.
No, stop.
Tracy, I do want to comment on something you said there. That episode, no really, that episode where you say the multi-generational thing, I just wanted to interrupt Anthony. Go on.
Yep, this is what I did.
So, before I was so rudely interrupted, no, you talk about character development. Well, I suffer from arrested development, so my character really didn't develop into anything. So I talked to you about my favorite episodes. The pilot, for me, because it laid the foundation for what we were going to build and embark on for the next 8 seasons. Kenya and I, it was almost 10 years now, when we sat down and had a conversation in a restaurant called Laurel Hardware in Los Angeles, and just talked about our families. And Kenya told me, he said, yeah, man, I feel like I went from raising a Black family to a Blackish family. And I was like, wow, yeah. He said, hell yeah, that'd be a dope title for our show. I was like, yeah, it would be. And then we started talking about our families, how we're first generation successful. Kenya is from Inglewood, I'm from Compton. The trappings of our success. Hold on one second.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
It's Invisalign.
You lost your teeth? You're talking about me, you don't even have any teeth.
Well, I get it from my mama.
Oh.
Somebody turn the mic off. So, we sat back and we just talked about, the trappings of our success, being the only African American families living in our respective neighborhoods. Being one of the few Black families in private schools that our children attend. And my son coming home at 12 years old talking about having a real conversation with me about him not being Black. And I was like, no, son, you are Black. He said, no, Dad, I'm not Black. I don't feel it. He didn't feel that he was a young Black man because of the circumstances that he was living in suburbia, living a life of privilege. None of his friends looked like him. He wasn't experiencing the things that other young Black men his age, unfortunately, were experiencing across the country. My family, who still live in Compton and Watts, we'd go visit them and he'd see them and see how they were living. And I was like, well, son, that isn't your Black experience. What you're experiencing right now is your Black experience. And this does not make you any less Black. And he said, okay, Dad, I get it. And he looked me in my eye and he said, for my 13th birthday, can I have a bar mitzvah? And I looked at Dad in his eye and I said, you really aren't Black Audrey. And, you know, I told this story to Kenya and other stories, and he shared some things with me, and he called me 2 weeks later and said, I got it. I got our show. I have our show. And it's everything that we talked about, and it's called, we're going to call it Blackish. And we were met with some criticism about the title of our show. But looking at it now, 8 years later, could it be called anything else? I don't know favorite episode, but that is the one for me. My encounter meeting Kenya, sharing these stories about our family, and making a show that we said we were going to make, and being proud of it, and changing the world, and pushing the culture forward, and doing what we said we were going to do, brother.
Does anyone still believe in paradise? Well, it's only me. Do you believe in so follow me. Does anyone still believe?